Janet. Kuypers.
I've actually picked 3 because nobody seems to want to guess what
For
elements. And I'm right, I'm like, what elements do we do?
Hi. I'm going to do these backwards and forwards in the book because...
You say, I think I turned it off because I lean. No,
It's on. It's on. Hello. There we go. That's what I get for leaning away. This first one is called Berkelium. All I have in my head is your melody. It was such a romantic affair, and when we kissed and said goodnight, a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. A nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. Berkeley, B-E-R-K-E-L-E-Y, B-E-R-K-E-L-E-Y. You see, on the other side of the pond, the Brits have a different way of saying things, including the name of the Anglo-Irish philosopher George Berkeley. That's B-E-R-K-E-L-E-Y, like you're barking, Berkeley, you're barking up the wrong tree. But when a city and university in California was then named after the philosopher, well, they decided that pronunciation would be changed after it crossed the ocean. And because of a scientific work done at the University of Berkeley, they decided to name element 99. Wow, element 99. After the university. That's actually the only 2 elements in the periodic table named after a university. So I don't really know if you should pronounce it the way I would Berkelium, like in the States, or Berkelium, because I've been trying to learn a thing or two about Berkelium. And the thing is, it's never found in its pure form, because this transuranic radioactive and artificially produced element is a soft, silvery white actinide metal, and it sometimes has long half-lives throughout its isotopes. But the isotopes that range from microseconds to several days to the 333 days to 9 years to 1,380 years, they actually last for that long. So it means that I'm only meant to learn more of the parts of it, of this fleeting dance that scientists have been having with this Berkelium. Thank you.
Let's go back. I figured it was a short one. I'll go with that one. So
this one is called Radium. Women got jobs painting luminescent radium on clock dials. These radium girls, I'm already hearing you guys say, these radium girls would lick the tips of their brushes to get a finer point for painting the radium onto these clocks. And some of these women even painted the radium onto their fingernails or even their teeth. But before the Great Depression began, 5 radium girls started getting sores, anemia, bone fractures, necrosis of the jaw, and even cancer, because when it's ingested, the body treats radium like calcium, so the radium went straight to their bones. They sued the Radium Luminescence Material Corporation for damages because the radium was doing them in. In an effort to avoid liabilities, the Radium Luminescent Material Corporation even tried to suggest that the radium girls actually had syphilis. Really, that's what they said. So although the corporation was very careful to not expose themselves to radium, they apparently didn't have the same concern for their own employees. So, the Radium Girls may have been known for bringing on the labor laws, but scientists 5 years after the cases were settled and could still measure radium, they could actually still measure the radium in the exhaling of one of the painting employees. You just exhale it. You actually do that. What? Sorry, that's not the poem. That just freaks me out. I wonder if there was enough radium in their breath to give these radium girls a radioactive glow. Because at one point, radium was even added to toothpaste and hair cream because people believed that radium had curative powers. Imagine going to a spa with radium-rich water, because if you tell anyone anything to people in just the right way, you'll be amazed at what people will believe. Radium, thank you. Thank you. And I keep going back to the table for this last one. This is a bonus one because I have a poem for Astatine, which I believe is number 83. But I have a bonus one called Astatine in a Fantastic Car Crash. And thank you very much for this opportunity to read. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is Astatine in a Fantastic Car Crash. And our life is one big road trip now. And we set the cruise control and make our way down the expressway. And most of the time we're just moving in a straight line and the scenery blurs. There's nothing to see. But I know what's inside of you and I know what you're made of. There's no such thing as a calm with you. You are a fantastic car crash. You stop traffic in both directions. In your twisted way, you come from the decay of others. And what do you leave in your wake? More radioactive destruction as all around you slows down to stare, and all the gapers gawk, and the delay and the decay grows. Everything shatters with you, you know. It's a spectacular explosion until your instability corrodes you down to the basics of the world. And yeah, what is left of you after you're gone, it's so much more stable than what you were. Well, but still, I duck and cover as metal flies through the air. Every time you leave the scene of the accident, I'm left picking up the shards of glass from the windows. You know, the glass breaks into such tiny little pieces. They look like ice. It takes so long to pick up the pieces, and even though I'm careful, I'm still picking up the pieces, and I'm still on my knees. After dealing with only fractional amounts of you, I've only been able to infer what you're like by knowing your brethren. And while I'm stuck here picking up the pieces, I'm still on my knees, and the glass is cutting into my hands, because it was only after so much of your destruction that you left blood dripping down to the street. Think of this as your contribution, this radioactive short-term flash of decay. Think of this as your contribution to this fantastic car crash that is you, that is me, that is us. I've tried to learn. I've tried to study these microscopic parts of you to make sense of you. But whether or not you ever leave enough, despite your destruction, despite that decay of yours, I've had to keep reminding myself that when it comes to you, this is what you do. This happens all the time. So I pull the glass from my hands and I wave my hand to the line of traffic. Go ahead. Keep driving. This happens all the time. There's nothing to see here.